I learned something very valuable last week, and actually, this question had been wondering me for a long time. Those questions originated from the phenomena that I observed on the investment discussion board or forum. So every time when I observe people discuss stock, or usually that price will fluctuate or up and down like a crazy. That means people's preference, people's activity, people's discussion can influence the stock price. But why? What is the mechanism behind it? I just discussed my opinion. Why my opinion can influence the real world, the stock price? What happened behind it? Okay. And another thing is when people, we can observe similar things in other fields like political campaigns. We see more people discuss a candidate, or the polling show people have some preference or opinion about a candidate, like a 30% or 40%. It's very likely for this candidate to win. Okay, has more chance to win. The more we discuss candidates, the more the chance is for the candidate to win. But why? What's the why the people's the interest can turn into a result? So why individuals individual preference can influence the final result? Why? What's the mechanism behind it? I don't know that until I recently learned a theory to help me to understand this. I would say a social phenomena. Okay, so this theory can be used in many places. Investment is just one application. So I think this theory had been developed by Thomas Schelling in 1970s. He wrote a book about micromotives and microbehavior. Schelling is also the 2005 Nobel Prize winner. So I think it's a very, very valuable research. So it helped me a lot, helped me to understand my questions. So I just want to save time and just jump to the model that Schelling used to discuss or study the phenomena we observed in everywhere. Okay, so his model is it's already simplified. Okay, they make us easier to understand what happened. The model is the agent model. Agent model means we use very simple dot to represent the people we want to research. So how many dots on this panel? Okay, there are 7,000 dots. So it's 100 by 70. So we can see the red dots represent an agent and the green dots represent agent. There are only two kinds of agents. Okay, so I use the color to highlight. So only two kinds of agent because there are only two colors. Okay, the red area means the vacancy. Okay, we need to give some vacancy for the agents to move. Then we can observe the activity to research what they really want or what their preference can influence the final result. Okay, so we make 30% of vacancy to let them move. So how many agents on this dot? 70%. 70% of agents. Okay, 7,000 points and 70% of the agent. Okay, so it's 4,900. So all the dots we can see has color have colors that they are agents. Okay, 4,900. Okay, now we want the agents to move to observe their behavior. But what makes them move? We give them a very simple rule. Okay, so the center is the agent we want to study. Let's say the center's color is red. Okay, but we also have this agent also has neighbors. Okay, the neighbor has different color. Let's say this one has red color, this one has red color. Similar neighbor, right? Similar neighbor. Okay, but some neighbors are different colors. Let's say this is green. Okay, this is green, and that is green. Okay, and some neighbors, empty. Nobody lived here. Okay, but how many neighbors we have in total? Okay, how many neighbors we have in total? This is one I use different colors. 1, 2, 3, right? 4 is empty. 5, 6, 7, 8. There are total 8 neighbors. Okay, to build this tiny community. Okay, so now let's discuss what can make this neighbor, or what can make this agent stay, or what can make this neighbor this agent move. Okay, we give it a definition: similarity. Well, we only consider similarity. Means 1, 2, 3. Only 3 similar neighbors live in this community, like the agent live in the center, right? So how many percentage of neighbors have the same similarity? Okay, 3 over 8, 37%, right? So what is the threshold? 30%. 30% should be a very low threshold. That means if over 30% of the neighbors like me, I would stay in this community. If less than 30%, well, maybe I would consider move. Okay. Now let's see. We have one neighbor move out. Let's see this one, number 3. Okay, a move out. Now, what is the similarity of this neighbor now? Okay, 2. We only have 2 red, right? Over 8. Now, okay, it's 25%. That means we want to move. Okay, we want to move because it's already below the threshold. Okay, this divider. Now, the reason I name it like this way because more people want to live alone. If we observe on all the neighborhood around us, we don't see people live alone, right? So we consider those vacant are also neighbors. All right. So 25% is because I don't want to live in a community less people live there. So this is another reason to make people move. This is more natural. Okay, more natural to the things we observed. So this is the only thing that can help all agents to move, and then we can observe their activity. Okay, and the final result. Now let's see what's the final result. We can let them keep moving until all the agents are satisfied. So what is the initial satisfaction? How many percent of them satisfied? Only 58%. It makes sense, okay? Because we randomly post agents on this board, we only see 58% of the agents satisfied. And the right side can tell us the similarity distribution. We populate the numbers into here, okay, for each dot, each neighborhood, okay? Now, we can see very few neighborhoods that are satisfied because it randomly, this one, maybe, this one is happy, okay, it's a happy area because people live here, most people live here are similar, but all the other areas not very happy, right? We keep them move, let them moving and see what happens until most people are happy, right? This is the final result. 100 people are satisfied. Satisfied means, it doesn't mean all the neighbors around them are same type. It only means they satisfy the threshold. It means 30% of the neighbor around them, are like me. So that means they want to keep moving. Okay, the system will reach a stable status. What we can observe? Let's compare to the initial condition. This pattern is messy. We don't see any pattern, right? Totally randomly. But here, what do we see? We see communities. That means similar people live together. Similar people gather together. So that's why when we create a forum on internet, or we create a group on internet, people gather together. People have same interests. People have same preference to gather together. We see the same pattern here. Okay, and how strong the preference? 30%. Is it very strong? Not very strong. From my experience, when people say that they have a special preference about something, it usually means they love something more than 50%. that means I like something. If my friend tell me that I like something 10%, it's another way to tell me that you don't like it. Okay, so 30% is not a very strong preference. It just show that you have preference, and that that preference is strong enough for people to create communities. All right, now let's increase this threshold to 40%. To 40%. Let's see what's gonna happen. Okay, this is 40%. This is initial condition for 40%. We see the threshold is 40. Okay, how many people are satisfied in this randomly deploying? Only 31%, because we raise the bar. Okay, less people happy with this layout. Now we let them move. Okay, see what can happen. Oh, very stark, right? Very I would say significant. It's not a community. It's already we can even observe the island. Okay, individual island. That means people want to live alone. People even want to live alone. Only 40%. Only 40% threshold. People would rather live alone instead of live with other people. Okay, now let's keep moving, keep raising the bar to 50%. To 50%, let's see what's gonna happen. Okay, this is a 50%. Okay, only let's say 30% satisfied. Okay, this is initial condition. Okay, most people are randomly placed. Few people are happy with their initial condition. Okay, most people want to move if we allow them to move. Okay, let's see. Same thing. Like 40%. It seems like over 30%. Over 30%. No matter how many times you do this experiment, I tried it on computer. This is a computer program. I program it. No matter how many times you run it, this pattern is randomly because people randomly move. As long as you introduce a randomly parameter into your computer program, you can see the pattern is randomly. So every time you run the program, you see different pattern, but the style is the same. People always build communities. And if you raise the bar, if you raise the threshold, you can see islands. So 50% I think is a threshold to tell people I like something more than I don't like it. Okay, this is just a threshold to tell people I like something more than I don't like it. And what's the final result? If we look at the whole picture, as a society, as a group, we already see segregation. Okay, so as long as it's a threshold about 30%, we see segregations. The higher the threshold, the more segregation we can see. No difference. No matter how many times you run this model, you see the same pattern. Okay, so I keep raising the bar until, let's say, 80%, 90%. What I can see, I see the messy pattern. Because keep moving, non-stop. Because nobody finds a happy place to live. All right, so let me conclude. I don't want to make it very long, so let me conclude what I found after I doing this computer experiment or whatever. Okay, this is also the topic Schelling discussed. The micromotive are different from microbehavior. Okay, so what it means? So individuals' preference never means if you observe people as a group, they all have the same preferences. It's totally different. So that's why even 30% of people, if you do the survey, if you do the polling, how many percentage you think you like a candidate? People will say, oh, I don't have 30%. But finally, this candidate win. So why? This is the reason behind it. Even 30 people have interest about a candidate, it may influence other people's opinion. Okay, so we cannot use a part of people, opinion to predict final results. So that's why on the public media, if we see that okay, this candidate have if we do a survey, 30 or 35% people to support this, you cannot predict the final result. Okay, so now other things we can know that social preference is also significant. People say that okay, I'm very open-minded. I just want to live in a community with diversity, but not always. Even you have a preference 30%, like the 30%, you allow 30% of your neighbors like you still can create a very a very strong community, more like you than do not like you. Okay, so same thing for investment. So I think that's answered my question had been wondering for a long time. Why more people discuss one thing and the price up and down like crazy? Because it doesn't mean 30% people discuss it and 30% people will it only influences the price 30%. No, it means more than 30%, or even 80% of people jump onto it, and that's why the price up and down like crazy. So every time when we see more people discuss one thing on the forum, it's usually safe to stay away from it, because it usually means people's preference influence the price too much. It usually means overpriced. So stay away from the hot picks is usually the wise option. This is a conclusion, or I learned from what I learned in the last few weeks. All right, I shared it with you, and I hope you can learn from it. See you next time.